Brandon Baney. Let's bring in our Treasure Valley expert, Logan Green. LG, what's up?
Hey, Brandon. Just chugging through, hoping the smoke is gone today. It has been so bad here in the Treasure Valley. Games got moved around last week. I think that was one of the biggest stories, right? Was last week was how many games got moved around. Like my kids had stuff canceled last night. The air quality was terrible yesterday. So that'll be an interesting storyline to keep track of. And I'm sure on your end, it's not easy, right? Trying to shift all the schedules around on the site.
Yeah, because it's any outdoor event, right? Cross country, soccer, football, volleyball's pretty safe. And we're gonna talk all of these sports here on the Treasure Valley Prepcast. But first, we got to let you know that the Treasure Valley Prepcast is brought to you by Meridian Plumbing. Logan.
Yeah, Meridian Plumbing, been a staple here in the Treasure Valley. They're our Treasure Valley regional major, and we said it again last week, but we'll say it this week. Just one of the best features is Meridian Plumbing. They'll come out, and you don't have to pay anything for them to come out, right? I don't know how many times I've had a guy come out to my house and make me pay him to just tell me what's wrong, and then tell me that, oh, there's nothing I can do. I'm like, well, why the heck did you come out here? But there's no call out fees for Meridian Plumbing. And, I had them, I'm sure I mentioned this before, but I had them install a sink for us. Something I thought I could do myself. And then I got into it and I said, nope, I can't do that. And, they were awesome, took care of it for me. So, just be sure to reach out to Meridian Plumbing for whatever those plumbing needs that you might have come across, over the next couple of weeks, months, and years.
Yep, for sure. The skies have been smoky down in the Treasure Valley. That is, you're right, the kind of the prevailing theme for the past week, 10 days or so of athletic competition. Homedale turned out to be a pretty popular spot last week for high school football. It hosted a pair of 6A Southern Idaho Conference doubleheaders. One on Friday night between Timberline and Borah, followed by Boise and Capital. And then Saturday, they hosted Rocky Mountain, played Kuna out in Homedale. And then Homedale themselves played on Saturday as well against Filer. So it was a busy weekend. And then there was even a game, Logan, that happened on Labor Day Monday. Owyhee and Centennial got approval to move the game to Monday. Because of that, Owyhee was supposed to play Thursday. They instead are going to play Friday. And we're recording this Friday morning here on September 6th. So the schedule's been a little fluid, to say the least. But we wanted to hone in on that SIC doubleheader Friday night in Homedale because both games were thrilling. Timberline wins the first game over Borah 24-22. Brooks Edgar nails a 32-yard field goal as time expires. Borah was down by 22-21. By the time the ball went through the uprights, the Wolves had defeated the Lions 24-22. And then that was followed by Boise defeating Capital 36-33. The game was tied 33-all. 8 seconds to play. Travis Bardich nails a 31-yard field goal to lift the Brave to a 36-33 victory over Capital. It was the first win for Boise High over their crosstown rivals from Capital since the late 80s, Logan. So that's a pretty long losing streak that was snapped.
Yeah, that's literally my entire life. Like, I was born in 1990. So in my entire life, Boise had not beat Capital. It's kind of hard. It kind of makes sense, right? Boise just hasn't been there the last couple of years, but last year, the Brave were great. They were a good squad. So like you said, maybe I have to look at the schedule. Maybe they didn't play last year, but they had some great performances in that game. Schoolfield threw for almost 300 yards, 299. That's where you just go out and chuck it to one person or say, man, can't you just take one more step and get me that extra yard so I can get to the 300 mark? But on the other side, Dudley for Capital, he threw for 320 yards. So really good performances for each of these quarterbacks. Spillman ran for 92 for Boise. Groh ran for 139 yards for Capital. Very similar offensive numbers, and you would expect that in a game that was a 3-point game. 320 yards through the air for Capital, 299 for Boise, 183 on the ground for Boise, 175 on the ground for Capital. So a really good game to start off the season. And it's hopefully everybody that was going to go in Boise was able to make it out to Homedale, and that didn't affect, the environment that those teams might have playing at I know they don't play at home; they play at Donald Larson, but playing closer to home. Hopefully, the environment was great. I know it's just the smoke it sucks. It's just annoying, and the fires suck. Everything sucks with it.
For sure. Yeah, the Brave did not play Capital last year. They are in opposite divisions in this
Right.
alignment of the SIC. Capital is in the Foothills division. Boise is in the River division. Boise did go 7-3 last year. They took second place in that River division behind only Eagle. And that was the question. Okay, how do you build upon that? A tight win over a Capital team that only won one game last year. And so the question is Boise High down? Is Capital up? I think it's a little bit of both. I think Capital's going to be a lot better this year.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you lose some players, and it's the first game of the year. It's always tough to kind of figure out where you stand sometimes when you're trying to learn what's going on with with new guys and where they fit in. Boise had a freshman wide receiver out there, so you've got some spots that you need to fill. But I think you're right, Brandon. I think it's a mix of both. That Capital is probably a little bit better this year, and Boise is just trying to figure out how to regroup after last season.
Yep. And I misspoke. Capital won one game in conference play. They did go 2-7 overall last year. Eagle beat Meridian in that big showdown last Friday, 28-13. Yep. So it looks like Eagle and Boise, they're both 1-0 to start the year, could be competing for that top spot. Hawaii is going to be in the mix in that River division as well. Let's go to the Foothills division, where last year Timberline only won one game, Logan. They finished 1-8. They have already matched that one game in. Coming from behind to defeat Borah, a Borah team that went 4-6 last year and lost some key pieces to graduation. But this was a huge win for Coach Ian Smart and the Wolves to start the season off 1-0.
Right. You got to start somewhere, right? When you have a rough season like you did before, it doesn't matter how it comes, doesn't matter what the score was, just getting the win and getting momentum going for that team. That was a good Borah team. Borah played Middleton in that cross game and hung in there for a while with Middleton, with a playoff spot on the line. So it's a good, they were a good team last year. Did lose some pieces, like you said, got some new good pieces in place. So, it's always hard. We always, we talk about this every year. Like, what is it going to be like in 4 weeks, right? Where will the teams start to fit in once they get into the thick of it? But it's a good start for Timberline.
Yep, for sure. So you mentioned Middleton. Let's go to the Vikings, but we're going to switch sports now. Let's talk volleyball, Logan, where Centennial is kind of off to a great start in 6A volleyball. We talked about them last week. They won the Peg Peterson tournament over in Pocatello. This week it was Middleton's turn to go perform well at a tournament. This one was out of state, though. They went to the High Sierra Invitational in good old Reno, Nevada. Middleton went down and lost their first 2 matches in pool play against Ripon, California, and Bishop Manogue, which is a legitimate powerhouse from Nevada. Right. They lost both of those, but then they didn't lose again, Logan. They finished pool play on Friday by defeating Yerington, Nevada, and then Saturday morning they got put into a different pool based upon how they did Friday. They picked up 3 wins over Eureka, California, and Nevada Union, California, and then they beat Sutter Union, California. We saw their football team at the Rocky Mountain Rumble last week, and then they got into the actual bracket portion of play, Logan. And Middleton had a first-round bye, and then they defeated Bullard, California, and Reed, Nevada, out there in Sparks, Nevada, to basically win their bracket. That was a fantastic weekend overall for Middleton volleyball.
Yeah. To anytime, we talk about this all the time, right? Anytime a Middleton, or not a Middleton, but an Idaho team can go out of state and bring back some hardware, you love to see it, right? You love to see that they're able to do that. And, there's some on this Middleton volleyball team that, like Zoe Blackwell, right? There's some names from the basketball team that has been successful over the last couple of years that are also playing on the volleyball team as well. So they've got some great athletes that are playing volleyball right now for Middleton. And congrats on the big win down there. I think they might have slipped up coming home against Ridgeview last night. But still, no matter what, it was a great performance for the Vikings down there in that tournament. That was a heck of a job down there, ladies.
Yeah, they went 6-2 at the tournament. Logan, you mentioned slipped up against Ridgeview last night, but otherwise their only other losses have come to Coeur d'Alene at the season opening CUNA Classic, and then they did tie Mountain View 1-1. And remember, Middleton is competing as a 5A volleyball program,
Right.
so those are all 6A losses. Even Ridgeview is a 6A program.
Right.
So Middleton looking very good for the 5A
Yeah.
SIC in volleyball. Way to go, Lady Vikings. Let's continue talking about the great female athletes in our area. Let's go to the soccer pitch, Logan, where Fruitland, hey, you're going to be shocked to hear this, but Fruitland smoking hot to start the girls soccer season. They're off to a 4-0 start. They have defeated Emmett 11-1, Homedale 5-0, Payette 16-0, and they beat La Grande, Oregon in their first non-conference game earlier this week, 5-3. So Emmett, Homedale, Payette, those are all conference opponents. So not only is Fruitland 4-0 overall, they are 3-0 in Snake River Valley Conference play to start the year. And it's been pretty diverse in terms of the goals scored, Logan, in that season opening 11-1 win over Emmett. The leading goal scorer was senior McKenna Rawlinson. She scored 3 goals. And then it was also Bailey Rawlinson. So the Rawlinsons each scored 3 goals in that season opening win over Emmett. Then in the win over Homedale, a 5-0 victory, 4 of the 5 goals came from freshman Carly Rubidoux. We've heard that name before, right? Abby Rubidoux had a great career for Fruitland. So Carly scored 4 of the 5 goals. She's only a freshman. And then in the 16-0 victory over Payette, you had, again, it was Bailey Rawlinson leading the way with 4 goals, and then senior Lydia Lindsay scored 3. So that's already 4 different Fruitland players that have achieved the hat trick through the first 4 games of the year for the Grizz.
And Carly Rubidoux is a freshman, I believe, too,
Yep.
correct? And she has 21 points so far this season. That's a lot. And the Rawlinsons, they're probably related. I'm guessing they're sisters, is my guess. Maybe twins. I think they're both seniors. Their parents, that must have cost them a lot of ice cream that night. 2 hat tricks. Like, I don't know what the deal is, right? Like you do this, I'll buy you this. They're most parents have that. I have that with my kids, right? Oh, score a touchdown, and I'll go buy you a Blizzard or something. But get a hat trick, it's a big deal. So I wonder what the prize was. Double hat tricks. It probably was an expensive night for the parents.
Yeah, it definitely could have been. That is for sure. Homedale got to state last year in girls soccer, and we think they're probably, they're going to be fairly competitive. I mean, a 5-0 loss to Fruitland is competitive. That's what competitive is against this Fruitland program. I think McCall Donnelly will be pretty decent this year. And then also, keep an eye on Parma. They are competing in soccer for the first time in school history this year, both boys and girls soccer. In fact, I think they won their first match of the season. And so, maybe Parma could be kind of sneaky too, but it certainly looks like Fruitland, McCall Donnelly, Homedale at the top in girls soccer. And until somebody knocks off Fruitland, they are going to be considered the favorite moving forward, a high-powered unit to be sure.
Right.
All right. Well, we talked about that 16-0 victory for Fruitland in girls soccer. How about 15 points put up by the Rocky Mountain cross country team, Logan? That's about as perfect of a score as you can get.
Right.
They went over to the Jerome Invitational this past week, and they swept the top 5 spots. Senior Cody Lucas takes the gold in a time of 15:28.99. Junior Hiram Tuft was second. Parker Goggins, the senior, was third. Jacob Thomas, senior, was fourth. Thomas Kurtz, the junior, was fifth. And then Hudson Godfrey and Jamin Clark, another pair of seniors, took 7th and 8th, respectively. Again, hey, spoiler alert, Rocky Mountain boys cross country going to be pretty good.
So when you put numbers out like that, do they just run with like a massive 2x4, right? That just stretches the length of the course, and so nobody can pass them? Is that, all right, who's going to finish 8th today? You hold the board and don't let anybody in front. No, I'm just kidding. But man, heck of a performance. And I say this every time we go and do cross country. It's not something I did. I'm not a runner, but man, you go, and I have tons of respect for that. I don't think I think a lot of people that play other sports might just say, oh, it's just cross country. But when those guys, girls, when they finish, they like collapse across the finish line. You can tell it's just utter exhaustion. It is 15, 20, 25 minutes of just pure physical, just exertion, right? They are just doing everything they can. And so to have a team that can be that successful and just completely dominate, that's impressive. That extends into the off season for that, right? They're training and getting ready, rather than just, hey, let's just show up and run. Like, those guys are putting in the work to be able to do that at Rocky Mountain. That's awesome.
Yeah. Unless you think it was only the Rocky Mountain boys that were doing work. On the girls' side, Rayleigh Richardson of Twin Falls took first place, but then Rocky took the next 5, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. Haley Heemeyer, Landon Heemeyer was a great runner on the boys' side. Now it's Hallie Heemeyer on the girls' side. She's a junior. She took second. Senior Chloe Pollock was third. Sophomore Brooke Thompson was fourth. Senior Brooklyn Hom was fifth. And senior Emmy Ham took sixth. And then you had sophomore Solana Lucas at 11th and freshman Eve Archibald taking 12th. So Rocky Mountain boys, girls didn't matter. They went over to the Jerome Invite and cleaned house. Our good friend Scott Burton, IdahoSports.com broadcaster, he's also the AD at Jerome, might think twice before inviting Rocky Mountain next year.
It's just cultural, right? Like, they expect to be good. And I think, at some point, like, kids that come in from the middle school level, they know what's going to happen, and they're like, I want to win. I want to be part of that. And it just, it's not just a sport you just play because you don't have anything else to do. Like, those guys and girls are training hard in the summer and the winter. They're doing everything they can, and it's paying off.
Yep, for sure. All right, Logan, before we get out of here, just want to promo tonight on IdahoSports.com our offering of high school football broadcasts across the great state of Idaho. You're going to get a chance to watch 4 Treasure Valley teams in action. The big one is Timberline and Kuna will face each other tonight, 7 o'clock on IdahoSports.com. Timberline 1-0. Kuna 0-1, had to play Rocky Mountain on Saturday out in Homedale. We'll see if the Cavemen can bounce back. But also tonight, a pair of road contests. Emmett is traveling to Burley for a non-con showdown. That game at 7 o'clock. And then Weiser is making the long trip up to Lakeland. Yes, all the way to North Idaho to play up a level too. Weiser's 4A, Lakeland is 5A. That non-conference game tonight. Yours truly, I'll be on color for that game tonight. So Weiser fans, if you want to tune in, that's going to be a good one. That is 8 o'clock Mountain Time, 7 o'clock Pacific Time. So you could catch the early games and then swing it over to Weiser versus Lakeland for the late game tonight here on IdahoSports.com. And again, if you want to see the full schedule of games that we're broadcasting, just click on the game streams tab on the homepage at IdahoSports.com.
Yeah. Weiser trying to bounce back after falling to Buell at home. That was kind of a surprising result. Sometimes you see those in the first week of the year, though. You're trying to figure things out, but there's not enough time in these to talk about every single thing that happened over the past week. But that was another one that was interesting. We'll see if I'm sure you guys will talk about it on the broadcast. So Weiser fans, just be sure to tune in and listen in to what's going on up there on the broadcast tonight.
Yep. So Weiser did fall to Buell 9-6 last week. And then promo our new show we're doing this fall, Gem State Game Day. It aired live yesterday morning on the IdahoSports.com Facebook page, X account, and YouTube channel. You can go back and watch it if you haven't yet. It's called Gem State Game Day. I was grilled by Buell's head coach and 4 of the Buell Indians players, and because none of us picked Buell to beat Weiser in our IdahoSports.com pick 6 picks, Logan. So I took it on for the company. I took the public flogging.
They let us hear it. They were all over it, and rightfully so.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. So of course, Gem State Game Day, you can check that out at IdahoSports.com. All right, Logan, I know you've got to run to a meeting, so thank you for hopping on and doing this. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon, and good luck on the calls tonight. Enjoy the broadcast tonight, everybody. Should have some really good ones.
Should be a good time. For Logan Green, I'm Brandon Baney. Thanks for tuning into the Treasure Valley Prepcast on Idaho